Okay, so this is just going to be a quick tip, a quick down and dirty tutorial on a minor composite. So I was standing in Yosemite's Tuolumne Meadows recently, and waiting for the sun to set, basically, because the light up there is that alpine glow is just it's unreal, it's otherworldly, it's just insane. So I was standing there, and this is the frame I had locked down on a tripod, and this is the frame what you're seeing here that I wanted. And as I was standing there, literally, this deer that you see walked into frame, stood right here, pretty much right at the crosshairs of the rule of thirds. It looked at me, it looked away, it stared at the water, and it literally just sat there and waited for me to snap the shot. So I snapped the shot, I got the frame, I was super happy. As soon as I got the frame, it turned around and it walked out. Once it walked out, I still stood there and I continued to snap because I was waiting basically for the light to. I mean, you still see the light on the tops of these mountaintops right here. And just look how beautiful that light is. So I was waiting for that light basically to go down. So I stayed in position and I kept snapping. When I got home and I pulled them into Lightroom, what I noticed was in the frame with the deer, which I knew was going to be my keeper, I was a little bothered by the fact that these mountains right here were a little bit in soft focus. And the reason for that is because I had opened up I had the aperture, I think, open at about 5.6 during this shot in order to make sure that deer was in focus. And this aperture here, I think, was around f8. So that's why these mountains here in the background were a little sharper. And so basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to put that deer into the sharp mountaintop, into that other frame. So this is how I did it. I'd never done it before. I talked to my brother, who is an illustrator, so he has plenty of experience in Photoshop and compositing and this kind of thing. So he kind of gave me a quick way to do it, and I thought I would share that with you. So what I did was I took this frame, I put them into the same project. So I've got the two layers now here. The one on top is the one with the deer. The one on the bottom is the one without the deer. But I'm going to flip that around. So let's name this. This is the sharp frame on the bottom. The one on the top is the deer frame. So I'll take the sharp frame, I'll put that on the top, and what I'm essentially going to do is create a layer mask, and I'm going to paint in that deer. So what's going to happen? So the way well, first thing actually what I'm going to do is I got to align these layers. If you notice, I might have bumped the tripod or I might have moved it or something, but they're a little bit misaligned. So I'll select the two layers, and once I select them, I'll come up to here, and what you see up here is the auto align tool in Photoshop. So I'll click on that. Here's my auto align layers. Auto is fine. It's going to be perfect. You'll see what happens. I'll click OK. And just like magic, my two layers are aligned. Now if I turn one off and I turn one on, you'll see that they're perfectly aligned. It's like the same frame right there. So now, in order to get the deer into here, what we want to do is we want to create a layer mask on the sharp layer. So I'll create a layer mask. And what essentially is happening is we're putting a mask on here, and what we're going to do is paint in the part of the mask that we want to disappear in order to show the deer that's underneath. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick a brush, you'll take a brush, and you're going to want to paint in black, which you could choose your color here. When you click on that, this dialog will pop up, and you'll choose black, or right here. It's the same thing. Either way is fine. Whatever your preference is. So then we'll zoom in to make this a little bit easier. And to see where the deer was, we'll turn that layer off. There's my deer. So we'll see it right where that flower is like the center of that deer. So we'll take that brush, and as I start brushing, you'll start to see the deer magically pop in. Look at that. How wonderful is that? And I'm doing this really quick, down and dirty. I was a much more meticulous when I was making the actual image that you see here in the post. And the meticulous part of it is that because it was at different apertures and f8 is things are going to be a bit sharper. I wanted to just get the deer and not the grass or the vegetation around it, because you'll see that part of it is in focus and part of it isn't. Like here, I'll do a quick sample right here. You'll see. When I paint that in, that's more in focus. Then I'm going to undo. Then how it's blurry right there. Here's that. So when I was doing the actual image that you see in the post, I was going very closely into the deer here, and I chose a soft brush so that it could be just soft around the edges. The next thing that I noticed after I did that, there's my deer, look how wonderful that is, deer, sharp mountains. The next thing that I really loved was just look at this gorgeous golden light bouncing off the tops of these trees right here. It was still peeking in through some of the valleys, some of the mountains over there, and it was just hitting these trees just so beautifully. And I wanted that in my final frame. By the time that I took the frame where the deer wasn't in before we painted him in, that sun had already set behind that hill on the west over there, so I was missing that light, and so I wanted to paint that light back in as well. So it's just the same thing. So make sure the layer is selected. You'll take that brush, and I just painted in that light bouncing in on those treetops. Look at that. Oops. Right there. Look at the beautiful light. That's just gorgeous. Loved it. And then in the reflection also, to even things out a little bit. There you go. You notice that the light is now, I mean, look at how beautiful that is. Oh, God, I want to go back. Anyway, so there it is. That's what I ended up doing in order to get the final resulting image that you see up here in the post. After I was done with the compositing, I framed it. I cropped it to how I liked it. Got rid of a little bit of the sky. So there we go. I cropped it to the frame that I liked it. I saved that, and then I opened that up in Lightroom, and that's where I made my final adjustments as far as a little bit of contrast. I added a little bit, I think, of vibrancy, somewhere between 5 and 10%. I opened up the exposure, I think, a little bit. The shadows, maybe about 5-6% or so, just to open up this area a little bit so you can see the deer a little bit better. I think that's about what I did. The highlights, I might have dropped a little bit. Added a vignette, and I think that was about it. I hope you enjoyed this little tip here. I hope you got something out of it, and I will see you. Well, I won't see you, but our paths will cross again next time our paths cross again. All right, that's a sign for me to sign off. Bye bye.